In this video, I'm going to show you how to animate walking with a Lego minifigure that has short legs. I'm going to show you two different cycles. The first one is easier and suitable for frame rates of 8 frames per second up to about 15 frames per second. The second one is just a little bit more difficult and suitable for frame rates higher than 15, so it will be good for those of you who are animating at 24 FPS or 20 FPS. After I show you how to do these two walk cycles, I'll give you links to cheat sheets that you can download to help you remember the steps. And there'll also be a link to my playlist of walk and run cycle tutorials. So, there are medium legs available that can bend at the hip, but for the short ones, the legs are fixed. So the two legs are going to be side by side for the whole walk cycle. You might think that this would mean you have to resort to animating the minifigure with a simple slide, but actually we can do much better than that, and here's how. First of all, start with a slight movement of the arms, one forward and one backward. Then lift the minifigure up so that it's only pressed down halfway onto the studs, and continue the arm movements a little further. Then rest the minifigure on the top of the studs, but slightly forward like this, and move the arms slightly. Next, balance the minifigure so that it's half on the studs in front, and move the arms a little more. Then move the minifigure fully onto the next pair of studs, but keep it resting lightly on them without pushing it down. The arms should start to move in the opposite direction now. Then push the minifigure down all the way and move the arms so that they are almost back to the starting positions. Now you just have to repeat those 6 steps, but with the arms moving the opposite way. So this time the right arm will go forward and the left arm will go back. That's really all there is to it. It's very easy, although it will take a bit of practice to feel comfortable with it, to get it looking smooth and to remember all the steps. Now that we've been through all of the steps, let's see how the finished walk cycle looks. I normally use 12 frames per second, and this is how it looks at that frame rate. It looks really good. At 15 frames per second, it also looks really nice. If we slow it down to 10 frames per second, it still looks great. And even if we slow it down even further to 8 frames per second, it's absolutely fine. However, at 20 or 24 frames per second, it does look too fast, as you can see here. So if you're using a frame rate higher than 15, you're going to need to pop in at least a couple of extra positions. Perhaps using 3 different balancing positions between the front and back studs, and an extra frame of arm swing when the legs are fully pushed down. Here's how I've adjusted the walk cycle for 20 and 24 FPS. There's extra positions between the studs, and there's extra arm movement positions when the legs are not moving. Here's the end result at 20 frames per second, and here's the end result at 24 frames per second. Even this walk cycle looks quite fast at 24 FPS, so if you want to animate a kid walking slowly, you'll need to modify it even further and add in some extra frames, but for a fast walk it looks really good. And if you want a really slow walk at 10 or 12 FPS, you can try using this walk cycle instead of the first one. So that's the two walk cycles. Here are the cheat sheets, and you can just screenshot this part of the video if you want, or you can use the links in the description to download them from the Gold Puffin website. You'll also find a link to a playlist of walk and run cycles in the end screen and description, and I'll continue updating the playlist with new videos as I make them. Thanks everyone for watching, and special thanks to Foxbooker Studios for supporting me on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/goldpuffin if you'd like to support the channel, and go to goldpuffin.com/shop if you'd like some Gold Puffin merch. That's all folks, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more tutorials, brick films and all kinds of LEGO videos.